Good evening. Let me tell you something right now. Nobody cares about your excuses. Nobody. You can sit there and tell yourself why you couldn't make it, why you didn't show up, why life was unfair. But at the end of the day, all those words, they don't mean a thing. Excuses don't pay bills. Excuses don't build legacies. Excuses don't make dreams come true. Let's get one thing straight. Nobody cares about your excuses. Not your boss, not your teachers, not your competitors, not even life itself. The world doesn't stop moving just because you've got a reason why you couldn't do something. It keeps spinning. And while you're sitting there explaining why you didn't get it done, someone else is out there making it happen. Excuses feel good in the moment. They take the weight off your shoulders, even for a little while. You tell yourself you were too tired, too busy, too unlucky. You blame your circumstances, your past, the people around you. And for a moment, it feels justified. But here's the truth. Excuses don't build anything. They don't create wealth. They don't sharpen skills. They don't open doors. What they do is keep you exactly where you are, stuck. Look at the people you admire, the ones who have made it, the ones who inspire you. Do you think they didn't have obstacles? Do you think their path was easy? Every single person who has ever achieved something great had 100 reasons why they could have failed. But they didn't give those reasons power. You say you want success, then prove it. Not with words, not with explanations, but with action. Show up. Do the work. When it's hard, when you're tired, when nobody's watching, that's when it counts the most. Because anybody can work when they feel good. Anybody can grind when the motivation is high and everything is going right. But what happens when it gets tough? What happens when the obstacles show up? That's where champions are made. People spend so much time explaining why they couldn't that they never stop to think about how they could. They convince themselves that their situation is unique, that their struggles are bigger than anyone else's. But let's be real. Everybody has struggles. Everybody has challenges. The difference is in the response. The weak let their excuses define them. The strong refuse to be controlled by them. Discipline beats excuses every time. You might not be the most talented. You might not have the best background. You might not have the best connections. But if you have discipline, if you are willing to put in the work day in and day out, regardless of how you feel, you will surpass people who had more advantages than you. You will separate yourself from the ones who let their excuses win. Success doesn't have a secret formula. It's simple. Show up, work hard, be consistent, and don't stop when it gets difficult. Push harder. Because every time you choose discipline over an excuse, you are one step closer to the life you say you want. And every time you give in to an excuse, you are one step further away. Life is short. You don't have time to waste explaining why things didn't happen. Instead of talking about it, be about it. Instead of making excuses, make progress. Because at the end of the day, excuses will never take you where effort and discipline will. The world doesn't stop for anyone. It doesn't slow down because you're struggling. It doesn't pause because you need time. And it certainly doesn't wait for you to catch up. Life moves forward with or without you. And the harsh truth is, if you're not growing, not improving, not pushing yourself forward, then you're getting left behind. There's always going to be a reason to sit still, a reason to wait, a reason to hesitate. But while you're stuck thinking, doubting, overanalyzing, or making excuses, someone else is out there taking action. Someone else is putting in the work. Someone else is making moves. And one day you'll look up and wonder why they got ahead while you stayed in the same place. The answer won't be luck. It won't be chance. It'll be because they understood something you didn't. It's easy to feel like you have time, like you can put things off until tomorrow, next week, next year. But time is moving, whether you use it wisely or waste it. The opportunities you ignore today might not be there later. The dreams you push aside may never come back. The people you think will always be around may move on. And one day you'll realize that life kept going while you were waiting for the perfect moment. There is no perfect moment, no perfect time, no perfect situation. The only thing that matters is what you do right now. The people who succeed are the ones who understand that. They don't wait for motivation. They don't wait for permission. They don't wait for things to get easier. They just start. They step into the unknown. They take risks. They make mistakes, but they keep moving. Because they keep moving, they keep growing. You might feel stuck, like the world is against you, like nothing is going right. But ask yourself, are you actually stuck, or are you just standing still? Are you actually being held back, or are you holding yourself back? The truth is, most of the time, the only thing keeping you from progress is your own hesitation, the fear of failure, the fear of judgment, the fear of not being good enough. But none of that matters if you just take action. Action is what separates the ones who make it from the ones who don't. Not talent, not intelligence, not even luck. Just the willingness to move forward. And while you're standing still, the world is moving forward, leaving you further and further behind. It's not a question of whether or not you have obstacles. Everyone does. It's about whether or not you let those obstacles stop you. Because no matter what you're going through, life will not slow down for you. If you want something, you have to be willing to chase it. If you want to change, you have to be willing to. Life isn't fair. It never has been, and it never will be. Some people are born into wealth, others into poverty. Some people have natural talent, others have to work twice as hard to keep up. Some people get opportunities handed to them, while others have to fight for every inch of progress. That's just how it is. But here's the thing, you don't get to use that as an excuse. You don't get to sit back and say, it's not fair, and expect that to change anything. Because life doesn't care about fair. The world doesn't pause to make sure you're comfortable. And the moment you start waiting for fairness, you start losing. You weren't promised easy. You weren't promised a smooth road. Nobody ever said success was guaranteed or that hard work would always pay off right away. But does that mean you stop trying? Does that mean you give up? No. You do it anyway. You push through even when things aren't in your favor. You show up even when life knocks you down. You give your best effort even when it feels like nobody is watching, nobody is helping, and nothing is going your way. Because the truth is, the people who win in life aren't the ones who are given the best circumstances. They're the ones who refuse to quit despite the worst. You will face setbacks. You will deal with disappointment. You will work hard for something only to see someone else get it with half the effort. It will frustrate you. It will make you question if it's worth it. But in those moments, you have two choices. You can let it break you, or you can let it build you. Most people choose to let it break them. They get bitter. They start blaming the world, blaming other people, blaming circumstances. And the more they blame, the less they grow. They convince themselves that life is against them, that no matter what they do, they'll never get ahead. So they stop trying. And the moment you stop trying, you lose. Then they're the ones who do it anyway. The ones who refuse to let unfairness be the reason they stop. The ones who understand that even though life isn't fair, there's still a way forward. It might take longer, it might be harder, it might require more effort, more sacrifice, more resilience, but it's still possible. Look around you. Every successful person you admire has faced unfairness. They've been rejected, overlooked, underestimated, but they didn't let that stop them. They didn't waste time complaining about what wasn't fair. They focused on what they could control. They kept moving, kept learning, kept growing, and eventually they created their own opportunities. You have that same ability. You have that same choice. You can sit around and talk about how life isn't fair, or you can get up and make something happen anyway. You can let obstacles defeat you, or you can use them to make you stronger. You can spend your days feeling sorry for yourself, or you can use that energy to prove yourself. Because at the end of the day, life isn't going to hand you anything. You have to take it, you have to earn it. And the moment you stop waiting for fairness and start working with what you have, you take back your power. So yes, life isn't fair. Do it anyway. Pain is universal. It doesn't care who you are, where you come from, or what you're trying to accomplish. Every single person, no matter how successful, how wealthy, how talented, experiences pain. The difference between winners and losers is not whether they feel pain, but how they respond to it. Losers see pain as a stop sign. The moment things get hard, they pull back, they hesitate. They convince themselves it's a sign to quit, that maybe it just wasn't meant for them. They let discomfort control them, and before they know it, they've given up on their goals, their dreams, their ambitions, not because they couldn't achieve them, but because they couldn't push through the struggle. Winners, on the other hand, understand that pain is part of the process. Think about the athlete training before sunrise while everyone else is still asleep. Think about the entrepreneur grinding for years before anyone even notices them. Think about the students staying up late studying while their friends are out having fun. The common factor? Pain is not a signal to stop. It's a signal that you are growing. Growth doesn't happen when things are easy. It happens when you're stretched to your limits, when you're uncomfortable, when you're doubting whether you can go on, and then you decide to keep going. That's the difference between success and failure. The reality is, you will suffer either way. If you choose discipline, you will suffer the pain of hard work, of long nights, of pushing yourself beyond what you thought you were capable of. But if you choose excuses, you will suffer the pain of regret, of watching others pass you by, of knowing you could have done more but didn't. People love to believe that winners have it easier, that they have some special advantage, that things just work out for them. But that's not true. The only real difference is that winners don't run from pain. They don't make excuses. They don't let their emotions dictate their actions. They understand that struggle is the price of greatness, and they are willing to pay it. Losers make excuses, winners make adjustments. Losers give up when they don't see immediate results. Winners trust the process and keep going, knowing success takes time. Losers want comfort. Winners want progress. The question is, which one are you? Are you the type of person who lets pain break you? Because the truth is, the choice is yours. You can let pain be the reason you quit, or you can let it be the reason you succeed. You can let struggle hold you back, or you can let it push you forward. Winners and losers feel the same pain. The only difference is that winners refuse to let it stop them. Failure happens to everyone. It's part of life, part of growth, part of success. But there's a big difference between those who fail and those who stay failures. The difference is in how they respond. Some people justify their failure, make excuses, and look for reasons why it wasn't their fault. Others take responsibility, learn from their mistakes, and start creating success instead of explaining why they didn't succeed. It's easy to justify failure. It's easy to say, I tried, but things didn't work out. It's easy to blame circumstances, bad luck, or other people. But none of that changes the result. None of that gets you any closer to your goals. Justifying failure only keeps you stuck where you are. The problem with justifying failure is that it gives you permission to stay the same. It allows you to accept less than what you're capable of. It keeps you comfortable, but comfort never leads to success. Every time you make an excuse for why you didn't succeed, you are reinforcing a mindset that will keep you from ever reaching your full potential. Success is not about avoiding failure, it's about how you respond to it. Do you look at failure as proof that you should quit, or do you see it as a lesson? The most successful people in the world have failed more times than the average person has even tried. The difference is they didn't let failure define them. They didn't sit around justifying why things went wrong. They took responsibility, they adjusted, and they kept moving forward. Excuses don't build success. Justifications don't pay the bills. No one is going to hand you what you want just because you have a good reason for why you haven't achieved it yet. The world rewards results, not explanations. If you want to succeed, you have to stop defending your failures and start focusing on how to improve. Every time you fail, you have two choices. You can make an excuse or you can make a plan. The first choice keeps you stuck. The second choice moves you forward. If you didn't get the job, don't blame the interviewer. Ask yourself what you can do better. If your business isn't growing, don't blame the market. Look at your strategy and make changes. If you're not in the shape you want to be in, don't blame your metabolism. Start adjusting your habits. Excuses make you feel better in the moment, but they steal your future. They give you short-term relief while keeping you from long-term success. The moment you stop justifying failure and start taking action, everything changes. Creating success is a choice. It's a daily decision to show up, to do the work, to take responsibility, and to push forward no matter how many times you get knocked down. It's not about talent, luck, or even intelligence. It's about discipline, persistence, and a refusal to quit. The people who succeed are not the ones who never fail. They are the ones who refuse to let failure be the end of their story. They don't waste time explaining why things didn't work out. They focus on what they can do to make things work. You said. Discipline beats excuses every time. Expend IT in 700 words without heading. ChatGPT said. Excuses are easy. Discipline is hard. That's why so many people choose excuses over effort, comfort over consistency, and short-term relief over long-term success. But at the end of the day, no matter how many excuses you make, no matter how many justifications you come up with, discipline will always win. Think about the people you admire, the ones who have achieved something great. Do you think they got there by making excuses? Do you think they allowed laziness, distractions, or self-doubt to control them? No. They showed up even when they didn't feel like it. They put in the work even when they were tired. They stayed focused even when life threw obstacles in their way. They had discipline. Excuses might make you feel better in the moment, but they never get you anywhere. They don't pay the bills. They don't build businesses. They don't create strong bodies or sharp minds. Excuses are comfortable, but they are also the reason most people stay stuck. Every time you choose an excuse, you choose to stay the same. Every time you let yourself off the hook, you make it harder to reach your goals. Discipline, on the other hand, is what separates winners from everyone else. It's what makes someone get up early to train when others are sleeping. It's what keeps someone working late when everyone else is clocked out. It's what makes a person stick to their commitments, no matter how they feel. Because discipline isn't about feelings, it's about action. It's about doing what needs to be done, no matter the circumstances. Most people wait for motivation. They think they need to feel like working before they actually work. That's a mistake. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. One day you wake up ready to take on the world. The next day you don't feel like doing anything. If you rely on motivation, you'll never be consistent. And if you're not consistent, you'll never be successful. Discipline is different. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't care if you're tired, if you had a bad day, if things aren't going your way. Discipline means doing what you said you would do, no matter the situation. It means pushing through the discomfort, the boredom, the frustration. Because the results don't come from occasional bursts of effort, they come from showing up every single day. Think about it. If you go to the gym only when you feel like it, will you ever get in great shape? If you only work on your goals when you're motivated, will you ever achieve them? No. Success isn't built on feelings, it's built on habits, and habits are built through discipline. Excuses are the enemy of discipline. They will try to convince you that it's okay to take a break, to skip today, to push things off until tomorrow. But every time you give in to an excuse, you weaken your own discipline. And the weaker your discipline, the harder it is to succeed. Look at any high achiever, an athlete, an entrepreneur, a leader. What do they all have in common? They don't make excuses. They don't wait for the perfect conditions. They don't allow setbacks to stop them. They commit to their goals and they stay disciplined no matter what. You have that same ability. Discipline is not something you're born with, it's something you build. It starts with small decisions. Waking up on time instead of hitting snooze. Sticking to your workout even when you're tired. Following through on your commitments even when you don't feel like it. Every time you choose discipline over excuses, you strengthen your ability to control your actions. And the stronger your discipline, the closer you get to success. Excuses will always be there, offering you an easy way out, but the easy way never leads to greatness. If you want to win, if you want to change your life, if you want to become the best version of yourself, you have to choose discipline. Not just once, but every single day, because in the end, discipline beats excuses. Every time.